Hi, and welcome to our openSAP course, Introduction to ABAP in the Cloud. My name is Quincy Anderson, and I am an instructor in the SAP Product Learning Organization. This is Unit 2, Introduction to SAP BTP ABAP Environment. Before we begin, a quick recap of Unit 1, Basic Concepts of SAP Business Technology Platform. In Unit 1, we learned that BTP is an integrated portfolio of tools, services, and environments designed around 4 areas of capability. Number 1, database and data management. 2, application development and integration. 3, analytics. And 4, intelligent technologies. Furthermore, we saw that BTP ABAP environment is one of the 4 cloud-based runtime environments offered as part of the application development and integration area. Lastly, we learned that as developers, we can create value to our organizations by utilizing the BTP ABAP environment to create business services, applications, and extensions. With that, let's get started. What we see here on this screen is SAP's vision of the intelligent enterprise. As always, the creation of value for you, our customers, is front and center of what we do. So how is value created here? First, we see in bullet point 1 the Intelligence Suite. The Intelligence Suite comprises the complete scope of functional offerings the SAP portfolio provides. For example, in the customer experience area, we have SAP Sales Cloud. In the network and spend management area, we have Ariba. In the digital core area, we have SAP S/4HANA. Bullet points 2 and 3 comprise the BTP portfolio. Intelligent technology such as machine learning and artificial intelligence in regards to bullet point 2, and database and data management, as well as application development and integration in regards to bullet point 3. As we said in Unit 1, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When you take the Intelligence Suite, along with BTP, value is created for our customers by being able to implement complete end-to-end processes such as lead to cash, recruit to retire, and procure to pay. So, as mentioned earlier, the BTP ABAP environment allows us as developers to create value by building business services, applications, and extensions. On this screen, we see how BTP ABAP environment and SAP S/4HANA come together in regards to extension development. Now, first, what exactly is an extension? Well, that's super easy to understand. An extension simply adds additional features and additional functionality. With SAP S/4HANA, extensions can be implemented in 2 ways. In-app extensions, which we see on the left, and side-by-side extensions, which we see on the right. In-app extensions are done directly in SAP S/4HANA using specific tools dedicated for this purpose. In-app extensions are simple, easy, and non-disruptive in their scope, and are typically done by key users in the business department as opposed to developers in the IT department. There are several types of in-app extensions that can be done. New fields can be created, new business logic can be implemented, UI adaptations can be done also. Extensions that are much larger in their scope, involving complex business logic, extensive UI design and development, and needing code checks, testing, and debugging, are done using side-by-side extensions. Side-by-side extensions are implemented and run on BTP and are decoupled from S/4HANA. Several tools, services, and runtimes can be utilized, such as SAP HANA for building the database logic, BTP ABAP environment, utilizing the ABAP RESTful programming model for building the application logic, and Business Application Studio for building the UI logic. So since BTP ABAP environment is necessary to implement side-by-side extensions, let's take a deeper look at it now. So what exactly is BTP ABAP environment? Well, that's super easy also. BTP ABAP environment allows us as developers to build and run ABAP code in the cloud. It's cloud optimized and based on an SAP HANA instance. If you want to think of it as an ABAP platform as a service, PaaS, that's fine. Feel free to do so. It runs through Cloud Foundry and is managed using the BTP cockpit. Development work is done using Eclipse and the ABAP Developer Tools plugin. Both side-by-side extension development as well as new application development is possible. Now, many of you, when you think of ABAP, you think of classic ABAP used in our on-premise products. However, the addition of BTP ABAP environment requires some new terminology that we have to learn. There are now two versions of ABAP. The first version is ABAP Classic. ABAP Classic is used in our on-premise products, including SAP S/4HANA on-premise. The second version is ABAP Strict. ABAP Strict is used in both BTP ABAP environment and in addition, SAP S/4HANA Cloud ABAP environment. ABAP Strict has 3 rules that differ from classic ABAP, which brings us to our current screen. 1. Access to repository objects is governed by a list of released APIs that is checked statically at compile time as well as during runtime. 2. Only ABAP development tools, ADT, as part of the Eclipse platform can be used as your development tool. SAP GUI cannot be used. And finally, 3. The ABAP language keyword set is restricted as compared to ABAP Classic. Almost all obsolete keywords are disallowed, and stricter syntax rules and checks are applied to all elements, including ABAP classes and ABAP SQL. On this screen, we see a few examples of the restrictions in ABAP Strict. First, secondary database connections are not allowed, so the relative keywords are not supported and will result in a syntax error if used. Likewise for dynamic connections, client overrides, and select for update. There are 2 landscapes for BTP ABAP environment, which are Factory and Trial. Factory is licensed for development and production purposes, whereas Trial is free and is used more for learning and ramping up, sort of a try before you buy scenario. In the Factory landscape, there are several licensing options available: Enterprise Agreement and Pay-as-you-go. As the Trial landscape is available free of charge, no licensing agreement is needed. In both landscapes, your BTP ABAP environment instance, which is known as an ABAP service instance, is set up in a Cloud Foundry space, which is part of the Cloud Foundry environment in a sub-account. Users can then be maintained to log on to an ABAP service instance. These users can be a BTP user, sub-account user, space user, employee, or a business user. On this screen, we see the global account, sub-account, space, and ABAP service instance that has been enabled. This example is in the Trial landscape. In the top left-hand corner, we see Trial Home, which is the landscape. The global account is located immediately to the right, and the sub-account, which is named Trial, is last. Looking below that in the middle of the screen, you see an ABAP service instance that has been enabled within the dev space, which is part of the Cloud Foundry runtime environment. To create an account in the Trial landscape, you can go to https://cockpit.hanatrial.ondemand.com, as you see on this screen. You will need an email address and a phone number not already associated with another BTP account. As part of BTP account creation, the email address used will become a default user of the account and can be used to log on to the ABAP service instance. Additional users can be created as you see here on this screen. As mentioned earlier, one of the characteristics of BTP ABAP environment is that development work is done using Eclipse with the ABAP Development Tools plugin known as ADT. When connecting to your ABAP service instance using ADT for the first time, you will choose SAP BTP ABAP environment as shown on the screen to your left. Afterwards, you will put in the unique API endpoint of the region your BTP account, along with the email address and password of any BTP user associated with the BTP account, as shown in the middle. After successfully authenticating, the relevant Cloud Foundry and ABAP service instance information appears as shown in the last box in the lower right-hand corner. Many of you are accustomed to using the ABAP workbench to do your development work. However, as mentioned earlier with BTP ABAP environment, ADT is used to perform your development tasks. ADT contains everything you need to support full lifecycle end-to-end development. Both Eclipse and in addition, ADT can be downloaded from https://tools.hana.ondemand.com as you see in the bottom right-hand corner. ADT can be upgraded separately from Eclipse itself. The latest version is 3.20. As with all software products, each version will have enhancements and new features. The next few slides show some of those enhancements and features that have shipped with new releases of ADT over the years. On this screen, we see with releases 2.51 and 2.64, corresponding to ABAP Platform Release 7.50, we have a new source-based structure editor, an enhanced Core Data Services tool support editor, an AMDP debugger, and a business object as well as WebDem Pro editor. For ADT 2.68 and 2.73, corresponding to ABAP Platform 7.51, we have a form-based domain editor, redesigned Project Explorer, more enhancements to the CDS editor, and enhanced breadcrumb usage. Breadcrumbs are very useful navigational aids when you are traversing several levels of your development artifacts. They help you see the structural relationships between different artifacts. For ABAP Platform 7.52, we have a redesigned table editor, a package editor, and the ability to directly run ABAP programs and see output in the console. For ABAP Platform 7.53, as developers, we can implement enhancements and modifications and use the Runtime Analyzer to analyze errors. Finally, and also for ABAP Platform 7.53, we can create and edit lock objects, as well as both see and edit ABAP transport requests. To conclude Unit 2, we will take a look at 4 sample scenarios where BTP ABAP environment can be utilized. In this first scenario, we see that an external HTTP service, which is providing some data or some functionality, is required. Note that the BTP ABAP environment is using the identity service and the destination service for authentication and connectivity, respectively. Here we can really see the benefits of an integrated platform. Tools, services, and runtimes working together for your application development. In this second scenario, the ABAP Development Tools plugin for ABAP Git, which we see on the right, and an Eclipse plugin, which we see on the left, which is the front end to access that functionality. Again, the plugin is done in Eclipse via ABAP Development Tools. This functionality allows us as developers to convert our ABAP code and other artifacts into a format where they can be added to a Git repository. Once done, all Git operations such as pull, push, fetch, etc. can be utilized. In this third scenario, we see a side-by-side extension developed using BTP ABAP environment. The SAP S/4HANA Cloud System is on the right, and it has business data exposed as an OData API. And BTP ABAP environment, depicted on the left, uses the destination service to make calls to that API. In addition, any needed operations can be executed against that API, such as creating, reading, or updating the data. A UI5-based application can also be created that can execute on a phone or a tablet. Optionally, the SAP Fiori Launchpad service can be used to expose that application to end users. Again, make note of the tool, ADT, the runtime, BTP ABAP environment, various services, such as the destination service and the SAP Fiori Launchpad service, all working together to make this scenario possible. Finally, we see on our last screen a similar scenario as to the previous screen, with the difference that instead of an SAP S/4HANA Cloud instance, instead on the right-hand side, we see an SAP S/4HANA on-premise instance. This shows the flexibility of BTP, where it doesn't matter what products in the Intelligence Suite you are using. BTP enables complete application development and integration capabilities. Okay, so that concludes Unit 2. Introduction to BTP ABAP Environment. In Unit 3, we will take a deep dive into the ABAP RESTful programming model. See you there.